Hello, 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 everyone. This is your girl Shanidra with Beyond the Cover. Yes, where you will discover exactly what it is and what it's going to be. Now, as you can see on me, I have my own More to Classy Boutique jumpsuit on. Um, yes, dressed to impress. As you can see behind me, we have our More to Classy Boutique dress. As you know, today's title is Detours. So, as you know for sure, um, there's going to be some new changes and improvements for this show. This show for Beyond the Cover will be solely on the gospel. So, just to let you know, and we will have a new show for the new clothes for you to know. So, we're going to get right into it on today when I say we must pray and obey the Almighty. It's either Yahweh or you can hit the highway. Yes. So, we're not going to stress. We're going to be blessed. And don't worry about the mess. So, as you know, we have been, last week on Thursday, we were in Matthew. And that was when he was telling you not to judge. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. So he told us not to judge, or ye too will be judged in the same way in which you judge. Also, last week on Thursday, God told us that we should treat people the way we want it to be treated. So, if we are truly living for God, that's what God has told us to do. And that's what we should do. He said, don't only be hearers of his words, but be doers. He said, not everybody that call him Lord, Lord will enter the kingdom of heaven. There's a narrow road to heaven. So, you need to choose ye this day whom you're going to serve and pray to in your actions. Now, I'm about to break it down. As you know, the title of today is Detours. Now, on Tuesday, we were still in John. Well, guess what God wants us to be in this time? John. So we will be in John, the 11th chapter, starting at verse 54. But before we explore verse 54, we must talk about what detours are. Now, I know detours are highly inconvenient. I mean, highly. It gets on your nerves. It's frustrating, especially when you're trying to get somewhere and all you have to do is go straight, and then this detour has to hit right smack. I mean, you're right there. I mean, all you have to do is go straight through that stop sign and then you're there. But no, no. Right before you get there, there's a detour, and you're like, what in the world? Now I gotta go all the way around when I could have just went straight right there and I would have been there. Now it's gonna take me all around this neighborhood and all around here just to get to my destination. And it causes a lot of frustration when we're trying to get to our destination. But as you know, for sure, God always has a plan for us. So, they're inconvenient, but they are there to protect us. Because most of the time, we know when there's a detour, they're reconstructing the road or there's some reconstruction going on. So, since there is some reconstruction going on, God wants us to make sure. He wants to make sure that we are protected at all times. So since he knows the things that go on behind the scenes, beyond the cover, he wants us to discover the other way, which is Yahweh. Or you can hit the highway. But anyway, so, as inconvenient as it is, just think about how inconvenient if you just decided to, I'm not going to take this detour, and, they're trying to reconstruct the road and you're not paying attention because you just, I want to go this way instead of that way. God telling you to go this way, but you decide, no, I don't want it to take that long. I'm ready for it now, and I need to get there now, and all this and that. And then you just decide to glide on through and go through those little cones and all that, and then your car just fall down. And now, did you reach your destination? Now your car totaled. Now your car messed up. Now you can't get to any destination. Now you're solely dependent on others because you didn't want to discover the detour. The detour was there to protect you, not to reject you, but to protect you. And when you decide to be a fool and not take the detour, then you still lose. What do you gain? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, as you know for sure, I'm here to let you know we're supposed to acknowledge God in all of our ways. He has another way for us to go. He sees where that's going to lead us to. And we don't want to be led into destruction at all. So just know that the detour is to protect you. And I know, because I get frustrated. Like you said, we could be angry, but sin not. Now I know for sure how frustrating it could be. Because I mean, especially when you're right there. I mean, you could just touch it. You at the destination. And then right at your destination, there's a little slide detour. And you like, what the? Really? Right here? This cannot be happening. I'm about to go through it. No, you can't. You cannot. Because it's there to protect you. I know you confused, like, how is that supposed to protect me? But see, the things that you cannot see, he can see. Because he goes beyond thee. So since he goes beyond thee, he sees what that's going to lead to. So if you decide to go on and go through the little detour cones and all that stuff and don't go where you belong, then you the one that's in the wrong. Who can you blame? You can't blame nobody but you. So I'm trying to help you on today to go Yahweh. So you don't have to hit the highway. When there's a detour, again, it's there to protect you. So, as you know, we listen to the GPS because we're like, now, where the heck do I go? Because now, it's talking about detour, there's a road closure, all this stuff. All of a sudden, when I'm trying to, now mind you, I just came from a mini vacation, but I'm thankful that God gave me a vacation. And, there was a detour. And this is where this came from, this revelation came from, actually. I had to go, normally, I could just hit the highway. And that's going Yahweh, But this time, it had me going through all these little back roads and all of this stuff for a detour because of a road blockage or closure or what have you. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't know where I'm at. I am confused. I don't, where is it taking? I'm like, hurry up and tell me where I'm about to turn. Like, it was just so nerve-wracking and irky because I'm like, what the heck? I could have just went straight on the highway and would have been on my way. But there was a detour. So I went on the detour. I didn't try to go straight or whatever and then really be inconvenienced and, it was a hold up for like an hour. So I would have been sitting for an hour when trying to go on a detour when I could have just explored the other way. So all I'm trying to say on today is that we must pray and obey the Almighty. When he gives us a detour, we must go on that detour so we can be protected from whatever it is. It could have been a wreck. It could have been anything else that he protected you from. But you're so upset about that detour because you were so close. All you had to do was go straight and you would have been right there. I know, honey. Honey, I know for sure how it goes. Trust and believe me. I told you, this came from my experience this weekend. I had to go on a detour, a long detour. And I felt like I didn't belong on that detour. I'm like, why can't I just go straight? This don't make any sense. I was like, Lord, I'm not going to lean to my own understanding. I'm going to have to acknowledge you in all my ways because I'm confused. But I trust you. So, since I trust Yahweh and I don't want to hit the highway and be on my way somewhere else, I accepted the detour. So, as you know, for sure, we must go into the Word. Now, I'm about to break it down and show you he's been doing this. God has been doing this for a long time. And he gave us an example out of Yahweh. Yahweh did it first. That's why he's able to lead. Because he already succeeded in this. He already succeeded in listening to his father. You don't have to, I understand that we have spiritual leaders and we have other people that God has placed in our life. But the ultimate person that he tells us to listen to is him. That's it. He said, allow him to direct your path. Acknowledge him in all of your ways. All of them. Not some of them, not part of them, not a little bit of them, but all of them. So if you acknowledging your friend or your confidant or whoever other than God, and you haven't decided on today who you're going to pray and serve and obey, and it's not the Almighty, then what can you say? When you go up there and call him Lord, Lord. He said not everyone that call him, come to him and call him Lord, Lord, is not going to enter the kingdom. We read that in Matthew. So, like I said, you can either choose Yahweh or you can hit the highway. Choose ye this day whom you're going to serve. And your actions. You can't actually keep saying that you listen to God. This is not no sometime when you want to talk and walk and all that. No. You can, he said, only be hearers of his words, but be doers. I don't care how much you know the Bible. The devil know the Bible. Who cares? But are you doing his word or are you judging every little nick and nanny that somebody does? I mean, they can't do nothing. They can't cough. They can't sneeze. They can't do nothing without you judging. We just read in Matthew about him telling you not to judge. We saw in John how they judged Yahweh. And he was the Messiah. So you don't know. But again, my friend, we got to get in within the word. So as I told you today, we're going to read John, the 11th chapter. And again, this is the plot to kill Jesus. As I told you, the detours is to protect us. To protect us. So, okay, well, we're going to start at the 45th verse. John, the 11th chapter, starting at verse 45. Thought we were starting at 54, but he said 45. So, we're going to talk about the plot to kill Jesus, Yahweh. Therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary, now we already discussed everything prior to this, so you have to read on your own. Can't just listen to me to receive. Now, therefore, many of the Jews who had come to visit Mary and had seen what Jesus did believed in him. And we talked about this recently, Thursday. Look at the previous video. So they believed in him. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin and said, what are we accomplishing? Remember, we read about that. They were asking, what are we accomplishing? Because they think that they can stop Yahweh. See, God gave us these detours to protect us because he already know what they're trying to do. See, they're trying to confuse and abuse and misuse his people and, stick to their way instead of Yahweh. But he said they asked, "What are we accomplishing?" You're not accomplishing nothing. You can't accomplish nothing outside of God. Anyway, they are asking, "What are they accomplishing?" Now, see, God already know what their plot is. Their plot is to kill Jesus. But they haven't accomplished because Jesus still doing what he does. He's still doing the will of God. He's still doing what God told him to do. He's still allowing God to direct his path. After knowing, I mean, God already put him up on game uh, that he's going to be killed and all that stuff, but he's still listening to Yahweh and doing what God told him to do. He's still listening to God, his Father. Now, what are we accomplishing? They ask. Nothing. Here is this man performing many signs. Yes. He's blessed. Yes. And that's why you're stressed. Now, here's this man performing many signs. If we let him go on like this, if we let him. See, that's their problem. But nevertheless, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nations. Verse 49. Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, spoke up. You know nothing at all, he said. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perish. Like, do you not understand the plan? Nevertheless, we already read all this stuff. He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life. Now, we're still talking about detours. We're about to get into it. Verse 54. Therefore, Jesus no longer moved about publicly. So there's a detour. Now he's not moving about publicly. Now he did what God told him to do. Now he's not moving about publicly among the people of Judea. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the wilderness. Detour. He withdrew to a region near the wilderness, to a village. Detour. Called Ephraim, where he stayed with the disciples. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, many went up from the country to Jerusalem for the ceremonial cleansing before the Passover. They kept looking for Jesus. See, that detour protected Jesus. They kept looking for him. But see, they couldn't even find him. But they kept looking for him. Couldn't find him because Jesus, Yahweh, took the detour that God had him to take. So now they couldn't even find him. It says when it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, many went up to the country to Jerusalem for their ceremonial cleansing before the Passover. Verse 56, they kept looking for Jesus, and as they stood in the temple courts, they asked one another, "What do you think? Isn't he coming to the festival at all?" See, that detour helped him. It protected him. Do you see how it protects you? See, he confuses the enemy. Your frenemies. He confuses them. That detour protected him. Anyways, can't go too deep right now. They kept looking for Jesus, and as they stood in the temple courts, they asked one another, "What do you think? Isn't he coming to the festival at all?" But the chief priests and the Pharisees had given orders that anyone who found out where Jesus was should report it so that they might arrest him. Do you see how the detour will help thee? If it wasn't for Yahweh taking that detour and going into the wilderness. Now, I know it seems like, why would I have to go through the wilderness because he is protecting you. They can't even find Yahweh. He will hide you in plain sight. He is confusing the enemy for you. So don't confuse it with anything else. Take the detour that God just the same way you listen to your GPS because you want to know how to get to your destination. Since you're on this detour, you're really focused on that GPS. Like, oh, which way am I going now? Because I'm lost. I don't know where I'm at. It got me on this detour. Where do I go? So you watching that GPS, so you won't be too stressed, and you can stay blessed. Well, God is your GPS. That's the same way you acknowledge that GPS every 2 seconds and you looking and you try to figure out which other way you're gonna have to go next. That's what God wants you to do with him. You keep going into construction areas and wondering why everything is falling apart. Because you didn't want to listen. You didn't want to take that detour that he had you to go on. Because you didn't want to be inconvenienced. He's telling you to start that business, but you don't want to be inconvenienced. Because you think that job is paying your bills. Okay. God supplies all my needs. Again, I have not worked a job in 6 of the 7 years I have been in business. I have 2 kids, have been a single mama for 6 years. So, no assistance. Didn't get child care. They don't give you child care to start a business. My daughter was 2 and my son was 5. Well, about to turn 5. Well, he wasn't even 5 when I started because I started in May of 2015. My son was about to be 5 in September. So I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old when I started my business with nothing. And God took me on that detour because I was working. I was going to school for business management. And I had just, tried to go to higher school. But I went to business school. And, I was working, thinking I was doing the right thing, what God had me to do, But when he had me to go on this detour, because, see, my calling is to break these generational curses. I cannot continue on the same path if I'm going to last. So, therefore, he gave me a whole detour. Now, it seemed like, my whole life was inconvenience. I didn't have any help. Everybody else was working. And, it was just me and the kids. And I'm like, Lord, you want me to, I'm looking crazy out here to everybody else, they're like, you got those kids and like I'm not thinking about it. I'm like, God told me to do this. I wouldn't have decided to do this on my own. So when God gave me this detour to go ahead and start photography, what I never went to school for, I tell everybody that. Never went to school for photography. This is what God had me to do. This was his plan for my life. Started out with photography with 2 kids, no building, no nothing. He told me to stop working and just follow him. That's the only instructions I had. Follow him. Now, I'm not familiar. I don't have anybody to talk to. Nobody in my family have taken this journey of entrepreneurship. Nobody that I know that I'm connected with. And there may be people in my family that I'm not connected with or that I don't know, but nobody I could talk to that, oh, hey, what do I do with this? And that it was in my situation with 2 kids. Who? So all I could look at is God, like, okay, God, what am I going to do next? Because they're still hungry. Everybody's looking at me. So I gotta, achieve who I'm destined to be. So I had to take this detour. And look at me now. I'm 7 years later. Was it easy? No. Did I have some part season? Yes. Did I have to get some ad right? Yes. Did I have to make some changes? Yes. But God will bless and he would get you out of that mess. Trust and believe in you. But you have to go on this detour, this uncomfortable, unknown place. that he is taking you on. You used to going this way. Every time I'm used to just all I got to do is go through. Well, I can't go through now. All of a sudden, you want to mess me up. No, God want to bless you up. How about that? He wants to bless you, not stress you. So that detour is to help you be prosperous. You've been complaining about, oh, they ain't paying me enough, and oh, I ain't got enough, and enough, and enough, and enough. And I'm trying to work more, and they ain't trying to let me explore more hours and all this and that. Because you're giving them the power. If you go this way, if you go Yahweh and you quit taking the highway, then you will see how it's going to be and who you're predestined to be. I started out with photography. That's it. That's all I started out. I didn't do all this other stuff. All this other stuff came on the detour. The detour that he put me on. As I'm on this journey of photography, I started taking pictures in daycares, and then the airport contacted me, wanted me to take pictures for them. I was like, wow, still honest, never took pictures, never went to school for pictures. So you still want me to, be your photographer? Yes, okay. God bless. He opened that door. Even though I didn't feel qualified or whatever, I still walked through the door because obviously God qualified me for that position to work my business. And then he let me decide how much I wanted to be paid. Like, do you hear this? The detour is to protect you, not to reject you. Yes, it's hard. You have to put in some work. He said faith without works is dead. You rather work instead. You rather work that job and think that job supplies all your needs. It doesn't. Honey, I was there. I thought that same. Before he renewed my mind, I was thinking the same thing. So this is no judgmental type of situation. I've worked everywhere. I've worked at Wendy's was my first job, Walmart, Ross, ORNL, First Horizon, GC Services, whatever you could think of, I've worked there. So trust me, I know I've worked. Wasn't like I wasn't trying to work. It's actually harder to run a business. So you get to just walk into a job that's already supplying everything for you. A business, you supply everything and you do all the overhead and you do, oh yes, it's a lot. So before you jump into it, make sure that God is going to get you through it. Make sure that this is God's plan for you. But if it is God's plan for you, he will direct your path so that you can last. As I was in photography, I realized that there was some dead areas in photography. I'm like, oh, there's nobody contacting me for pictures. I'm posting, ads to say that I have 50% off and all this and still nobody. Like, what is this? So I started listening to God, like, is this still what you want me to do? And he was like, yes. Then 2 years into the business, that's when my ministry started. It was called See Destined to Be. As I was on my journey to become who I was destined to be, he had me to start See Destined to Be back in 2017. I was helping the youth just like I'm doing now, without a building. He gave me the vision. He made it plain. I wrote it down and went and just did it. What else can't talk to nobody else. So this didn't just start this year or during the pandemic or what have you. I've been working with kids since 2017. Now, as I was working with kids, he had me to go on other detours because I was still one foot in and one foot out. So he had to get me smacked right on that. So it was a break in between. And then once I got smacked right and I was living upright for the kids in the best light and showing the best light in the way that they should go in my actions, then that's when God started blessing. And I wasn't stressed. Then that's when the Destin magazine came and all this other stuff. But all this stuff didn't happen overnight. I didn't start like this overnight. It happened when I had to take that detour. when I had to go through an unfamiliar place that I was not familiar with. Normally I could have went right and went straight there, but since I decided to do it Yahweh and I didn't want to hit the highway, God showed me the best way that was for me. And that's all I want you to achieve on today. When I say you must pray and obey the Almighty, the detours is to help you. It takes more, it takes more time to get there when you could have been there. I mean, they put the detour right when you could have reached your destination. I understand. I know it gets frustrating because everything starts piling on you. I mean, I tell everybody, this isn't for the weak, sweetheart. Because you're going to get things hitting you. And are you going to stop because, oh, this hit me. Oh, I got to stop. I'm not doing this today. Oh, I ain't got this to do. Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, you can't stop. Even though it's a lot, you can't stop. I can't stop. It's a lot. Don't nobody even know what goes on beyond the cover. But when you discover Yahweh, He will help you like He was helping Jesus. God will help you. And God was with David. And God was with Joseph. God will be with you. He's with me. Like He said, like Yahweh said, I don't have to have no advocate. Just because you don't see my Father don't mean I'm by myself. I ain't come here on my own, sweetheart. I belong. Do you understand the plan? So the detour is to help you, sweetheart. That's it. It's frustrating. It's confusing. I'm telling you, I know for sure. Trust and believe me, you. I know. But you got to let go. Let go and let God. You're going to have to decide on today whom you're going to serve and pray and obey. And I hope that you serve and pray and obey the Almighty in your actions. That's all He's asking. Nobody's perfect. He said, if any man say that they have never sinned, the truth does not lie in them. So He knows. He knows we have all sinned. He knows everything. He knows you're not right within. He already know all this stuff. And you're still here. And you're still going to reach your destiny. All you got to do is choose this day. That's it. And you're going to be okay. All you have to do is pray and obey the Almighty. That's it. That is that simple. Be obedient to Him and do His will for your life. Take that detour. Go on that detour. It's to help you. You being abused. You're being misused because you're doing it your way. And then you want to blame God. You didn't even talk to God. How are you going to decide to blame God when you haven't even talked to God? You're refusing to talk to God now. You're not in control, period. Have you not realized that you're not in control of your own life? You're not. Everything that you've tried is not working out. Check it out. So how about doing it Yahweh so you can quit hitting the highway? Faking it till you make it, you're still not happy. Stop it. You're not manifesting nothing. You're manifesting nonsense because you're not using common sense. Now, I'm not one to sugarcoat anything, period, because we're too grown. I'm not here to get likes or anything else. I can't condone what is wrong, period. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to do it Yahweh because I'm not trying to hit the highway. I'm not about that life. I've lived a life the opposite, going the opposite way. I had my Jonah moments. I'm not judging anyone. I've been there. That's why I can tell you. Quit blaming. Quit blaming my father. That's number one. Number one. What you not gonna do is continue to be a fool and blame my father. But he never knew you because you're not acting like you. That's not who he created you to be. If you can't see, he said, how can you look at the speck in somebody else's eyes when you can't see the big old plank in your own? Like I said, I can't condone what is wrong. You got this big old plank in your own eyes, but you're looking at every little speck in everybody else's eyes because you don't want anybody to see you. We see you. Man, don't get it confused because we don't sit here and talk about you every 2 seconds. We catching our blessings while you stressing. and messing. You are not of God. If you haven't decided on today whom you're going to serve and pray and obey, if it's not the Almighty, then you can hit the highway. Period. It's not your way. You can't do it your way. Your way ain't working, is it? So stop it. Do it God's way. So that's all I have for you on today. When I say we must pray and obey the Almighty. Yahweh or his highway. Let go and let God. You're going to have to decide on your own. So